So like in terms of, just kind of talking about Islamophobia, and you brought it up in terms of what you were perceived,
Hmm.
I guess, to be a Muslim. Obviously, following 9/11, many people, especially those that were brown or had beards that may look like they are from the Middle East,
Hmm.
would, or if somebody was wearing a hijab or whatever religious head covering, that they would face a lot of animosity and hate.
Yeah.
Where do you think, I mean, outside of obviously the mainstream media and the narratives that are being placed, where do you think that people really start to formulate these thoughts about seeing people in such a negative way?
Yeah. It's such a great question. And, I just, even in my mind, I have that first experience of experiencing bias in this way, like implanted in my mind, even though I've done so much healing and work around this and therapy and God knows what else.
Hmm.
But it was actually in the 12th grade. It was probably a few weeks after 9/11 had happened. And I was just walking, and I went to school in New York City, Brooklyn, New York, very
Hmm.
diverse. And just going to class and hearing from behind someone call out to me, "Hey, Osama, go back to your country."
Hmm.
And at first I was a little shocked because I was like, wait, that can't be me, right?
Right.
I'm not, I'm not Muslim. I'm not from Yemen. And, because I had this nuanced experience.
Hmm.
But then I looked around, I was like, oh, wow, this is directed at me. And that's when I realized, oh, this is really not about facts. This is not about, humanism. It's really about othering.
Yeah.
And, as you pointed out, the media has a huge role. It has a huge role in shaping the way people and we as human beings perceive and see one another. So for me, I'll give you an example. So I grew up again in the US, but one of the only ways many Americans perceived Indians and people from South Asia was Indiana Jones, Temple of the Doom.
Mm.
So my family is vegetarian for their cultural and religious reasons. And of course, we grow up revering life. But a lot of people that I interacted with in my early childhood here thought that we ate monkey brains
Mm. That
because there's
scene
a scene
from,
in the movie.
yeah, yeah,
And I'm like, oh, wow, this is so interesting. This is the power of the media.
yeah,
And the challenge is that those stereotypes, that misinformation isn't being corrected
yeah,
by our education system, by our parents, by our, places of worship. So as a result, the human beings that are receiving this information are really that's the data set they have to see someone who looks like me
right.
must have that. So that's where it kind of begins.